Hi, my name is Paige. Welcome to my channel. So today, guys, as you can see from the title, I am doing the Bookish makeup tag, or the makeup book tag, whichever way you want to say it. So basically this is a series of 11 questions relating to my makeup products, which I will also show you, and as I do my makeup I will answer them. I've seen a lot of booktubers do this sort of video, and considering the fact that I also like to do makeup, I just haven't been in the mood for it lately. As you can probably hear from my voice, I'm a little bit congested. So today I'm going to make myself feel better by putting on some makeup and showing you how I put on the makeup, what I put on, my process, and also getting to answer these really fun questions, which is a huge part of why I wanted to do this tag. So before we start with the makeup, I thought I'd let you know that my face is just been washed. I use St. Ives Apricot Scrub, and I'll list all the other products I use in the description before I put on my makeup, so you can go and check them out. I also wanted to put a quick disclaimer here to let you know that I am not a makeup guru, so I do what works for me. If you have suggestions for ways that I can make it better, sure, that's awesome. Please comment and let me know. But the products that you're about to see are beat up, they aren't pretty, and the courtesy I extend to my books is not given to my makeup products. Alright, so let's put our hair up and get started. So the first question is relating to primer, and the question is, pick a book that left a lasting impression on you. I use Maybelline's Master Prime thing in green. I do have oily skin, so this helps me keep that under control a little bit, I guess. Sorry if you see me looking off that way. That is where my phone is and also where the mirror is, so I can answer the questions. My answer for this would be The Bear and the Nightingale, I think. There's a lot of books I could choose for this question because, I mean, any book that I even remotely like has left a lasting impression on me in some way or another, but just to go outside the box a little bit and pick a book that I read recently that I think will probably stick with me for a while, definitely The Bear and the Nightingale. I just think there's a really good lesson in that book to keep an open mind and to not judge others by the way that they worship or live their lives. I don't know. It's a really good book in like every single way. So the second step is foundation. I use Revlon ColorStay in combination / oily. I've been using this for like a really long time. It won't focus. Yeah, I'm such a guru. Does this help? Does this work? Yeah. I use the shade 110. I could probably go lighter, but the question for this step is to list your favorite first book in a series. This one's a little bit difficult considering that I tend to like the first books in series more than I end up liking like the last book in series. Like I just have a thing against last books for some reason. But I decided that my favorite was probably Outlander. I think it's a really solid first book. It's my favorite in the series. In fact, it was so hard to live up to that I almost didn't really like the sequels as much as I thought I would. I also chose Red Rising by Pierce Brown for this question because, I mean, he's just a genius, and if I hadn't loved the first book the way that I do, then I probably wouldn't love the series like I do, so, or continued on with it. So the brush I use to put on my foundation is a Tarte brush. I'm not sure what it's called, but I think it's called something to do with bamboo or something. So the next question actually has you put on eyebrows first. And I don't usually do that until I'm done with powder, but I guess for the sake of the tag, we're gonna do it now. So this is probably the jankiest step in my makeup routine. Basically, I use this tool that has like a spoolie on the end and like an angled brush on the other end. I don't know where I got it. I'm assuming it's probably like from a set or maybe e.l.f. I'm not sure. And then I use the Nudes palette from Maybelline, and I take this dark color here and I just use that. The question for this book is pick a book you think everyone should read. Since I challenged myself to not reuse books in this tag, and I can't do it this way, I think everyone should read Six of Crows, and maybe that seems sort of strange since I haven't actually finished that duology, but I think it's probably like the pinnacle of YA fantasy. It's so fantasy that it's not even like YA, if that makes sense. So I think it's a book that everyone who is even mildly interested in fantasy should give a shot, whether or not they like YA. And I think if you do like YA, like if you like it exclusively like I used to, then it might help bring you out of that and help you explore, you know, more adult or mature fantasy novels. I also think people would really like Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens by Becky Albertelli. It's just like a fantastic coming out story that I think would be good for people to read. I keep trying to take this eyeshadow in this palette because I'm using it as a mirror, so I might end up with orange eyebrows. But yeah, it's just a fantastic coming out story. The movie was even good, so I think all around, like, it's also just a good example of a YA contemporary. Probably thinking to yourself, Paige, why don't you have your bangs up? And the reason is I'm lazy. When I was younger, I really wanted to be a makeup guru because of people like Michelle Phan, who I watched every single day of my young life. And, you know, obviously it wasn't really for me since makeup is something that I either really want to do or really hate doing. But this is my way of pretending that I'm a makeup guru. Anywho, so the eyebrows are done, and now the next step is to do concealer. I actually just started using this concealer not that long ago. It's from the brand Revolution, and it's Conceal and Define in shade C1 because I'm super pale. So it kind of looks like that. Okay. Yeah. So I use this. In fact, I've kind of eliminated foundation from my makeup routine, and I just kind of use this around my eyes and nose. But since this tag requires it, I use foundation too. Anyway, the question for this is pick some characters you wish didn't exist. In other words, characters you wish you could conceal. First on this list, since I just talked about her in my popular books I don't like video, I had to go with Rose from the Vampire Academy series by Rochelle Mead for this one. So Rose is my first choice, and then I think my next choice would be Gale from The Hunger Games, which might surprise some people because some people like shipped Gale and Katniss. And sure, like I think I probably did like any other preteen, young teen, but I also just hate him. So that's all there is to say about it. I just do. And my last choice, since like I said, I'm not reusing books in this tag, I'm going with Thiago from Daughter of Smoke and Bone because he's awful and complicated, so he's just the worst all around. Next up is finally powder, which I'm excited about because for someone like me who has like more of an oily skin type, powder is a necessity, and I know people who don't use it and like they're fine with that because their skin type doesn't demand it, but mine certainly does. And I've been using Airspun loose face powder for like a while now. It's pretty solid. It's the translucent one, extra coverage, I guess. It doesn't have really coverage in my opinion, but it works well, so. I usually use this powder with an e.l.f. brush, an e.l.f. I think face brush that has been ripped apart by me because I wanted it to be shorter. Makes washing it a lot harder, but hey, what are you gonna do? The question that coincides with this step is pick your favorite last book in a series, and I literally just said that I have something against like finales, so this was very difficult, but I thought maybe like The Reckoning by Kelly Armstrong, which is the last book in the Darkest Power series, which if you've seen any of my videos, you know that was like my teenhood favorite, and I liked the last book in the series because a certain relationship was fulfilled and I needed that in my life. I also chose The Raven King, which is the last book in the Raven Boys series. I can't really give you a reason why. The only explanation I have is that I liked the whole series, so I also just think the ending is very sweet, and it definitely set up for a really great like spin-off series, which is happening with Call Down the Hawk following Ronin. Speaking of Maggie Stiefvater, and her glorious books. I just finished the Scorpio races finally, and I ended up liking it like more than I thought. I knew that I was going to like it, but it didn't hit me fully how much I really like adore that book until maybe like the final like third of it. Anyway, the next step is eyeshadow. So the question is, pick a book cover that has your favorite color in it. My favorite color is kind of like orange, but like sunset kind of bronzy orange, if you know what I mean. And the closest cover I could find that like resembled it was Circe, out of the books that I like have read. And since my favorite color is like sunset orange, we're going with these colors today. This is the BH Moroccan Sunset 16 color shadow palette. This is the first BH palette that I ever actually bought, and it's like kind of the sample version that I found while I was at Kohl's. So just taking these two colors, mixing them, and then I'm just gonna put them on my lid. I think generally I just really like warmer colors. Sometimes I don't really go with my skin tone since I'm super pale. Like, I can't really wear red because it just makes me look like, I don't know, a vampire maybe? But typically these sort of colors look pretty acceptable on my eyelids, so that's where I put them. Also, this brush is a Real Techniques brush. I used to watch Sam and Nick on YouTube a lot when I was younger. Not so much anymore. To be honest, I don't really watch like makeup videos anymore. Sometimes I'll watch like my old favorites, but not too much anymore. But I knew that people raved about these sort of brushes, and this is the Deluxe Crease Brush. So I decided to get it, and definitely a very good choice. It's very dense, and considering I don't really do anything that crazy with my eyeshadow, I just sort of like rub it around like I'm doing now. It works very good for that. I thought I'd just mention though that I'm doing this completely out of order from the way I usually do my makeup. I don't do eyeshadow or anything like that until I'm already done with everything face-wise, so I always do my blush, and if I do contour, I do that before any of this. And my eyebrows usually come last, since I don't shape them up with concealer or anything. I'm a bit curious to know like what sort of makeup routine you guys have, like if you even wear makeup. I think probably if I hadn't done theater from a young age, I wouldn't even really wear makeup, but I kind of got into it then, and it's just sort of been like a part of my routine ever since. Plus, I think makeup can just be really fun. As you guys know, I like to draw and paint, and considering I don't sometimes get the chance to do that, this sort of makes up for it every morning when I do my makeup. Anyway, next up is eyeliner, and the question for this is pick a dark and mysterious book. I chose two for this one, which is unsurprising, knowing me. I'm telling you this before I put the eyeliner on because I know I won't be able to focus while I'm doing it. But my first choice is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This is a very dark and mysterious book, but it's not like a scary book. It's not like a thriller or anything like that. It's just a very atmospheric book. I've heard people who either really love this book or kind of hate it, and I could see both sides, but I personally think it's a very imaginative novel and a very refreshing read. And the next book I picked out was Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I actually read this pretty decent while ago, but I remember it being a very dark, kind of sinister, sort of like worrying book, if that makes sense. I just felt constantly like on edge reading this book, and it's not because it's like a typical thriller or anything like that. It's because it makes you think too hard, and it's also just, it just feels like a book with too many like dark corners, if you know what I mean. So those are my two choices for this question, and now I'm gonna do my eyeliner. I've been doing cat eyeliner since probably middle school. It just started with like Michelle Phan makeup tutorials and escalated to like full winged eyeliner. So at this point in my life, I don't really know who I am without eyeliner, at least when I'm wearing makeup. Like if I'm wearing makeup without eyeliner, then it just feels weird. I also tightline usually so that there's not that like gap of like your waterline and the eyeliner, so look away if you get creeped out, but I usually go under a little bit and just line right on the edge where my eyelashes start. The reason I'm wearing contacts today is because I can't see more than like a foot in front of me while I'm trying to do my makeup without glasses, which is why I have to like stand in front of the bathroom mirror with almost like my nose touching it. So I just realized I didn't tell you what eyeliner I use. So it's Maybelline Master Precise All Day Liquid Liner, Black Noir. It won't work for me. Is this a sign that I shouldn't have been a makeup guru? And I usually curl my lashes before I use mascara, but I've already done that step. So now it's just mascara time. The question for mascara is pick a long book. I guess, you know, since you want long eyelashes. So I figured since I can't choose Outlander, since I already chose Outlander as my favorite first book in a series, I think I'll go with The Name of the Wind, since I'm about halfway through that now. It honestly doesn't feel as long as it actually is though. Like with Outlander, you can feel how long it is, like you know you've been reading probably for too long. But The Name of the Wind, like I don't even know how I'm halfway through. Like I've just been listening to the audiobook basically in my spare time, but I guess like I've been listening to it even when like I don't really need to be like listening to an audiobook, you know? Like I've just kind of been listening to it in every spare moment that I have. And so like I've gotten farther than I usually do with audiobooks, since they're kind of just a way for me to like entertain my brain while I'm doing brain numbing tasks. Alright, so next up is finally blush. And blush is probably one of my favorite things to do with makeup. I'm not sure why, it just is. I used this Sonia Kashuk brush, I got at Target forever ago. And also this like super beat up Physicians Formula blush called Natural Pearl. I'm not even sure if they make this anymore, but I'm pretty sure that they make things like this. And all the blushes have like very subtle shimmer in them, so you don't have to like use as much highlighter, or you don't have to use highlighter really at all. The question that goes with this is pick a book with a cringe-worthy romance. So I looked through and there were a couple that I could probably choose for this, but they were mostly books that I've already kind of talked about the fact that I don't like the romances in. But one book that I've never mentioned yet is the Selection series. And I read this in like my first year of college. Every romance in this book just this is the book that made me realize that I wouldn't like The Bachelor if I watched it, or The Bachelorette, because I've said this before, but I hate love triangles, and books like this, obviously they're not just love triangles, they're like love octagons, I don't know. So it was just so frustrating to read this series and feel like just I don't even like to think about it, to be honest. So with that done, the second to last step is highlighter. I don't really have like an official highlighter, so I guess I'll just use this. It's like a light, kind of shimmery white. But the question for this is pick a book that brightens your day. My camera died, so I went and had a sandwich. And I'm pretty sure we were on Well, we have a visitor today. I usually don't read happy books, and that's just the truth of it. I'm not even really aware of happy books like that exist. I think maybe there are a couple like autobiographies written by comedians that might be funny, but like I've never read one. So a book that always makes me happy would probably be Harry Potter, but I always read it or listen to it when I'm about to do something terrifying. In fact, reading it all when I'm scared or when I'm just have like a lot of anxiety helps me a lot, and not necessarily reading anything, but reading books that I have read before that like hold nostalgia for me really helps distract me, I guess, and just keep me calm. So the last step in this tag is lipstick. And the question for this is your favorite book kiss. And this is actually a bit of a random one, but it became my favorite like kiss very quickly. And it's a kiss that takes place in the Flame in the Mist series by Renee Aldi. If you've read this book, you know exactly what kiss I'm talking about, but this specific one I think takes place by a waterfall. And it was the most perfectly set up kiss ever. It was building up the whole book, and yet that wasn't the moment I expected it to happen, and yet when it did happen, I was like, yeah, it was a really good kiss scene, first kiss, whatever. So yeah, that's probably my favorite so far, even though I have read a lot of good kiss. For lipstick, I'm going to be using L'Oreal's Color Rich Mattitude in 806. There we go. Yeah, this is basically the lipstick I use just casually. It's like a matte brown. So that was the last step. And now I guess for the full effect, I'll take my hair down. Ouch. If I had glasses on, then I would take those off too, and we could have like a full transformation. But since I wear contacts, can't do that. So in this full face of makeup that I just put on, I'm going to go and visit my grandma. Yep. Got nothing spectacular planned today. I do have some last minute things to take care of for classes, so that's fun. I actually am very late on ordering textbooks. I'm not even sure which ones I need. I'm usually the one that like pre-orders and everything like that, but since I scheduled late because of different things, I just need to get that taken care of. If you are in grade school, then you are probably back to school at this point, so I hope that's going well for you. But if you're a college student like me, then you probably haven't gone back yet, or you're about to, the same as me. So also good luck with that. Wish me luck. I've been thinking about doing a series of vlogs to do with my journey becoming a teacher. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I just think it would be kind of interesting for both of us. I'm hoping to get actually a couple books finished this weekend before school comes back, because I know once school starts up again, I'll be kind of sucked back into it. So wish me luck with that also, and good luck to you if you are also trying to do the same thing. Anyway, if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and look in the description to see any of the products I used, including the skincare stuff that I didn't show on camera but mentioned. That'll all be in the description. Have a great week, and I will see you back here on Thursday. Bye! Cats, man.